joining me now to discuss this even further, law enforcement expert David Katz. David, thanks so much for being with us. Before we took you live, I saw you off camera watching the surveillance video. You were shaking your head. Your response?
Disgraceful performance. It's a very, very dark day for American law enforcement, and really, I am one of thousands and thousands of police officers all across this country who feel and think the exact same thing when they see a video. And there's a notice on the top of it. I don't know if you spotted it, I'm sure you did, where it said, "Screams of children, the sounds, are removed from the video." So those officers, in addition to hearing gunfire, they heard those screaming children and stood there. They retreated in the face of fire. Look, I get it. It's terrifying. But there's a gentleman who was on the camera a little earlier, says you signed up for it. You signed up for that. You signed up for at least the possibility that you would have to lay down your life in a situation just like this, and whoever was out there, absent except those brave Border Patrol agents, you all failed.
David, we are putting up some of the video on the screen for our viewers, and we're showing the moment in the initial law enforcement response. And then, 3 or 4 of them more come in, but they were shot at. And that is why they retreated down the hallway to, scores of minutes later. They didn't re-engage. And so they kind of stayed in that entryway there, that other area of the adjoining hallway until, they did go in 77 minutes later to take out the shooter. David, there's been so many back and forth pieces of information that have been contradictory in this. One of which that we heard at the outset was that law enforcement who were inside the school were waiting for more shields, were waiting for more weapons to more confidently, I guess, engage the gunman. What we're seeing, though, is something that does not hold true. They had shields. They had lots of firepower.
Well, we know now that from the first moment they began to comment in the aftermath of this incident, there was not a single shred of truth. If you look at the shields, I was a master shield instructor in my law enforcement career, and I'm a big proponent of shields. First of all, the shields they had on site were not rifle rated. They were 3A, which means they were effective against handgun rounds only. But even so, you've got handguns, you've got long guns, you've got shotguns out there. You move down a hallway. If you're shot at, return fire. I will tell you this. I had the good fortune when I was an agent to be the training liaison with the Israeli security agency. And I was invited in, I don't know, it must have been 20 plus years ago to actually go to Israel and do a firearms instructor training school for the Israeli instructors in their academy. And I got a chance to see how they trained their officers, their personnel to engage active shooters. And there is one concept: attack the shooter. Because if you're attacking the shooter has to defend himself or herself and fire back. Maybe a horrible thing, but at least if that happens, they are not killing innocent people, particularly innocent children. If you go down, the next cop will get him. If that cop goes down, the next one will get him. The point is, the shooter is not able to continue the acts of violence against the most innocent, the most vulnerable, and the most deserving of our protection.
David, another kind of piece of information that came to light in some of the reports and investigations that are being done at the moment was law enforcement really did not know if one of the classroom doors was either locked or unlocked. According to some of these reports, presumably it was unlocked, but it was never tried. The handle was never tried, because we remember that was a major part of the plot line that the school police chief, Pete Arredondo, was frantic, trying to look for the janitor who had all of these keys to try to unlock the door into one of the classrooms. Not entirely the case.
Didn't stop the Border Patrol team, did it?
Right.
You have a locked school door, you have a shotgun, you have an open school door. This is just an absolute bald-faced lie. The fact of the matter is, you see officers, you see they're all decked out. They got their SWAT finest. They've got their helmets, they got their tactical vests, they got level 4 shields on the front of that soft body armor. They're doing position SOOL, they're doing all that cool stuff. But they're not moving down the hallway, and they're not engaging someone who, goodness gracious, there are children, little kids, screaming for their parents, screaming to be helped, and they don't go in? Risk your life.
Yeah.
If you die, at least you die doing them. I mean, can you think of anything worth or that's worth dying for more than that? I mean, I can't even watch this video. And I'll tell you, a bunch of my friends who are all former tactical team leaders and trainers feel exactly the same way. We can't even watch this without being emotional.
Yeah, of course. I mean, knowing what is happening while this video is going on, while you're watching the video, it makes your stomach drop. And it makes your heart beat very, very fast. I want to talk, though. We know Chief Arredondo has resigned his position in the city council. He assumed that position mere days after the shooting took place. The public, in an outcry, did not want him to serve in that capacity, and he has since resigned. I want to talk about individual Uvalde police officers, Uvalde School District police officers. We don't know their names. We don't know who they are. But we see them in this video. Are they to be held to account? And if so, what will be done, do you think? What can be done to hold them to account? They're going to have to live with this for the rest of their lives.
I can't imagine a worse thing to live with. You know, I'm sure you remember in the Parkland shooting, the school resource officer lying again. I didn't know where the shots were. I'm sure you knew where the shots were coming from. Didn't go in while children were being murdered. Same thing, the exact same thing here. They didn't go in. And the question as to whether they should be held accountable, absolutely. Every one of them, every single one of them. I don't know if there's any, listen, you're not going to prosecute them. There's no, I mean, I can't think of any statute that might be applicable, but they should turn in their badges in disgrace. It's beyond belief.
Yeah.
It is really beyond belief. Another thing too, we do not train in this country. We do not train law enforcement the way they need to be trained. We are busy making sure they get the right pronouns, making sure they have every other skill except what do they need in a situation like this? They need to be able to shoot quickly on the move at an individual who's shooting back and moving. And when I tell you, if I tell you that most police departments maybe qualify once or twice a year, which means shooting at paper targets, 50 rounds, do you really think we are preparing our officers to engage a situation like that? We give you mentioned earlier they had shields. They're the wrong shields. They have no idea how to use the shields. Okay. I watch the tactics. I see stuff on TV on the YouTube how officers are being trained. It is a disservice to the American people that we allow that.
Yeah, I mean, talk about training even more for a minute, because we know in the weeks and months before the shooting took place, the school district, alongside the school police force, invested lots of money, taxpayer money, and did hold some of these mass shooter drills and trainings. But from the video, looking at the law enforcement response, two things kind of struck out to me. We know they were trained, so to me watching, did they not act on their training? Or was it just pure fear, confusion, and chaos when the shots were ringing out and the training went out the window to a point where they were just kind of, destabilized into a state of shock where they could not function? I don't know. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to get into their head about the response.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what it is. When I hear people, I give you a perfect example. A young fellow I know just told me works for a major state police agency. Called me up, said, yeah, we just had active shooter training. Well, okay, lay it on me. What'd you do? Well, we had 4 hours. We did some room clearing drills. 4 hours of training? A day of training? This is not training. Mm-hmm. If you're watching this show right now, ask yourself, do you bowl? Do you play golf? It's like, I'll take a 4-hour lesson and hit the links with Tiger Woods. Training means you are learning a skill and you're practicing it repetitively. You become good at it. Not, in law enforcement, a lot of people say, you leave the academy, you're going to be the best shot, the best level of skill you're going to display is when you leave the academy. Well, that's pretty disgraceful. You should be better every year. And training, yeah. I propose this, tell them blue in the face. If you're a police officer, you're a federal agent, 1 day out of every month, you should rotate through training. I know it'd be expensive. I know it'd be an administrative nightmare, but if you really want to know how the Israelis do it, that's how they do it. And that's why in a situation like this, the agents run in and take the shooter out.
Yeah. David, during the extent and the duration of the video, there were moments when you just kind of wince and cringe because you're thinking of the time that is being wasted. One officer, some of the other officers, checking their phone, other officers using the hand sanitizer in the school building, cleansing their hands. And then, a lot of times they were just looking at each other for an answer, and you could kind of tell no command structure. They didn't know what to do, who was in charge, many other jurisdictions in that vicinity, in that hallway. And so the chaos and confusion was there. It was on their faces. And so, I'm struck by the fact that, and we were showing the Uvalde City Council meeting yesterday to our viewers, the mayor, other city councilmen on the dais there, going after the media, after journalists for obtaining this video and releasing it, because the track record in the transparency of this investigation has not been so great. No doubt it must have been on the onus of journalists to release it, albeit unfortunately that some of the victims' families were not able to see it beforehand. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I was on another show earlier, and the father of a Parkland victim was very upset by that, and I get it. And I can't fault his reasoning. I think the families have to be considered first. But this outrage that the mayor of Uvalde was displaying, do we remember the first couple days where he was throwing shade for the cops? I mean, I'm assuming at this point now, jumping on the anti-cop bandwagon is politically expedient. But don't you dare! You knew. When do you think they saw that video? Why do you think the DA from Uvalde didn't want to release it? Do you think they didn't see it? They saw it right away, and they saw it that night. There was no doubt in my mind. They knew the content, and then it was, this is not going to look good. It's not going to look good for us, not going to look good for every police agency. And you mentioned earlier about the command structure. Let me be very, very clear. There is no command structure in an active shooter incident.
Yeah,
you can set one up. You want to set up a command post, do all that. The officers individually go. There's no away from my sergeant, away for the TAC team. You go and you take care of business. That's it. And that's what the training has become post-Columbine. But I guess these guys didn't get the memo.
Okay. There's still a lot more to this. Of course, we'll be in full coverage on Sunday, David, as more of the video. We're not sure if it's going to be somewhat of the same that we've been seeing or something completely different. But the families, and they will be able to see it before the media does. And we'll be bringing on, hopefully, maybe you can join us as we break down more of this. The video is very hard to watch, and we thank you kind of for interpreting it for us.
Pleasure.